There was a man, and when he was younger, he moved from Florida to California, and where he moved to was a very cookie cutter neighborhood in a cul-de-sac where all the houses essentially looked the same, and they all had these perfect white picket fences on the front, and their yards were just beautifully green, and everything was how it was, quote, supposed to be. And one day, when he was in first grade, his friends pulled him aside and were like, "Gotta watch out because after lunch, the girls are gonna try to chase us and they're gonna try to catch us. And you don't want them to catch you because if they catch you, they're gonna kiss you all over. And they have this deadly disease called cooties. If they kiss you, you'll get it." And he wasn't buying it because when he used to live in Florida, where, people used to bump their music and listen and drive by in their fancy convertibles, and none of the houses looked the same, and it was all zigzagged and not put together. Well, cooties weren't a thing there, and he definitely kissed a girl when he was 4, so he wasn't worried about it. So instead, he made a plan for 2 weeks that eventually, after 2 weeks, he was going to let the girls catch him. So he would run slower each day. And one day he decided to be extra slow and he was acting like he was out of breath. And eventually one of the girls caught him and they pulled him around and then they looked at him and they went, "Ew." Of course, naturally, he was hurt by it and sad and felt disgusted in himself. But he wanted to play it off and pretend it wasn't a big deal. So instead, he just started chasing them, and that was the end of the first grade. He had brushed it off for the next 25 years, where, even eventually, he had a wife and 2 kids. His wife was American Indonesian, and their kids were that. But he still always looked for validation in the eyes of other people. He looked for people to tell him or give him glances of, "Oh, yeah, you look good." And he was happy though because him and his wife and his 2 kids moved to New York with a bunch of diversity, and he was like, "This is going to be great." So one day, his wife went to the Upper West Side of New York, where you can assume is a more white, privileged kind of area. She went into the store to buy cream puffs, like a normal person. And there was a girl in there who looked at her mom and said, "People with brown skin aren't pretty, mommy." And she was obviously taken back. And when she told him that, he was taken back to the first grade when those girls said those things to him. And when people over the 25 years asked him questions like, "Why is your nose so big? Why is your upper lip brown? Why does your skin look like poop?" And instead of laughing about it and putting it aside, now he was angry and just thought something was wrong with him. He's always looking for something to fix about him. His thighs are too thick. He's not tall enough. He's not beautiful enough. His skin is too dark. But he let it go. He let it go. He let it go. Until they went to France. They moved there. And he was walking on the sidewalk, looking at a building, and he caught a glance of himself, and he was like, "Oh, I gotta pull down my shirt to hide my thunder thighs, and oh no, these shorts are looking so short. Why do my thighs make them look so short?" And he ran into a pole, full speed, because he was so focused on looking at himself and what to fix about himself that he wasn't even paying attention to where he was going. And he realized he needed to stop looking for the beauty of himself through other people's eyes. He didn't need the validation from those people. He needed to find it within himself. He needed to look deep in himself and go, "It's okay if other people don't see that in me because I see it in me."